Tom Cotton, kind of calling out Biden for his hypocrisy, and he makes total sense. This isn't being xenophobic. This is just being logical and using your brain. Let's take a look.
Yeah, Dana, it is crazy. The Biden administration has put in place a moratorium on deportations, all deportations. So murderers, rapists, drug dealers who shouldn't be in our country to begin with are not being deported. They further are proposing that they will ignore serious crimes like assault or DUI when it comes to deportations. And just recently, we've learned that they are letting illegal aliens who show up at our border into the country without any coronavirus testing. Unlike what you have to do if you want to fly into this country on an airplane, or reportedly what Joe Biden is thinking about requiring all Americans to do to fly domestically. Just think about that. Illegal aliens can come into our country without vaccination, without even a negative test, but we may not be able to fly in our own country without a negative test. Joe Biden is keeping America closed, but he's keeping our borders open.
You see, this is an argument that kind of puts Democrats in a corner, because Democrats have convinced everyone and their mother that COVID's going to kill them, and that now you have to put on 2 masks in order to save yourself. They want people to be vaccinated. The COVID hysteria has gotten out of control. You can't go to the supermarket without a mask. You can't go to the movies without a mask in some states, especially heavy blue states. Outdoor dining is barely being allowed again in California, aspects of New York. So COVID's been a serious issue, and the left has been on that side, right? Government shutdowns. People are losing their jobs. People are committing suicide because of the lockdowns, okay? See, but what this does is it puts Democrats in a corner, because that's one argument that they've beheld, but they've also beheld upholding illegal immigration in a lot of aspects. Catch and release is something that Democrats love. They want to cater to immigrants coming from foreign countries. They want to let them in the country. They want to give them citizenship because they want more votes. So these are 2 hot issues that are now colliding. And it's hard for them to even speak out against it, because if they speak out against one aspect of this argument, they speak against themselves. And I'll explain that right now. So let's get into this article if we can get this up. Tom Cotton slams Biden's closed borders for Americans, open borders without COVID testing for illegal aliens. Joe Biden has resumed the catch and release policy on the southern border, where illegals crossing the border are apprehended and then promptly released into the United States interior. The people who enter illegally and then released are not required to test negative for the coronavirus before their release into American communities, a stark contrast to people entering the country legally. This policy by the Biden administration is being roundly criticized by lawmakers, local officials, and critics for advocating lockdowns and restrictions for Americans during the coronavirus pandemic. Let's actually leave that up. Listen, so here's where this gets stranger, okay? And like I said before, this puts Democrats in a corner because they've advocated so strongly for lockdowns. COVID's so scary and it's going to kill everyone. But at the same time, on the same other side of the dime, they're pro illegal immigration. They want to give, all kinds of DACA recipients. They want people to pour into the country. They're on both sides. They stand for both things, but now these things are coming together and they're actually opposing each other. So what's interesting about this is today the Miami Herald reported, this is a verified Twitter account, the Miami Herald reported that the Biden administration is considering whether to impose domestic travel restrictions, including on Florida, fearful that coronavirus mutations are threatening to reverse hard-fought progress on the pandemic. You see what I'm saying? This makes no sense. Let's pull out of this. What this is doing, and I think is good for the American people to see, is that it's putting Democrats' hypocrisy on stage for all to see. Because they say COVID's so bad, lockdown. We love immigrants. Let them all in. Illegal immigration, let them all in. Give them citizenship, give them pathway, give them everything. Let them all in. They fight for both of these political stances, but now they're colliding with each other and they're contradicting one another. And it's showing their hypocrisy even within the Biden administration, because it makes no sense that illegal immigrants, people coming from foreign countries, it makes no sense. If COVID is so bad, why are they not required to test negative for the coronavirus in order to gain entry into the United States of America? While at the same time, the Biden administration is considering seizing and putting travel restrictions to and from Florida because they're afraid that people are going to continue to spread the coronavirus across state lines? Does this make any sense? So Americans are going to have travel restrictions placed upon them, possibly, where they can't leave their own states, they can't travel their own USA, but people from foreign countries, because of COVID, right? All because of COVID, but people from foreign countries can cross our borders illegally and be let in without having to pass a test to prove that they don't have coronavirus? Listen, people might listen to me, and the standard reception of what I'm saying from a leftist or a Democrat will be, well, you're just you're a bigot. You're scared. You're xenophobic. That's what you are. You just don't want them in the country. Okay, well now your argument is kind of like punching itself in the face. Because part of the danger, if we let people into the country right now, is they might spread coronavirus. And I thought you guys cared about that. Period. Regardless of where they come from, regardless of their skin color, regardless of what language they speak, if you let thousands of people into the country, catch and release, you let them out into communities, that's going to be a huge, huge risk, according to your logic, to the American people. So how is that supposed to work? Is that going to hurt America? Is COVID going to spread according to your science and logic? You see how this argument just, boom, it just smashes itself right in the face because they have nothing to say. Oh, for the past few months, what is Joe Biden and all these hardline leftists and Democrats? We trust the science. The science guides us. Okay, well, according to your science and what you've been telling us, that COVID could spread and you want to shut down travel and put travel restrictions on Florida because you're scared of COVID spreading across state lines. So use that same logic for illegal immigration and people coming from third world countries. Apply it. Would COVID spread then? Yes or no? I need an answer here. You see what this does? I think this is good because it puts Democrats' hypocrisy on display for everyone to see in a way that is really hard to argue against. Really hard. Because it's both of their arguments and what they support colliding in one point in space and time in the universe. It's like an eclipse. You'll kind of rarely get something like this, and I think this is a good one to point out, and I wanted to address this on the episode tonight because what this does is it clearly shows that they're backing policies, that they're backing ideas that even contradict their own ideas, and it doesn't make any sense. Because if COVID is so bad, why don't these people have to pass a test? Why can't I get on a damn plane without a face mask on? Why can't I go to the grocery store without a face mask on, but someone from a foreign country can come into this country without even being tested for COVID? Is that going to hurt Americans' lives? Whether left or right? I would love to hear Jen Psaki give an answer on this because, I would love to hear Biden, Kamala Harris, AOC, because it just pins them in a corner. And their hypocrisy is absolutely exposed. And what this does is it proves to the American people that these policies are bad and they do more damage, and people don't even understand what illegal immigration does. It hurts Hispanic families. People get human trafficked. People get sex trafficked. There are kids that get kidnapped from cartels on the other side of the southern border. They appear to be families. because they take advantage. We've had cartels go on record that the justice system has already exposed and charged. They've all come out and said, one happened at the beginning of 2019 where these cartels, these human traffickers came out and said, yeah, we do this because of the United States' weak immigration policies. We know we can get away with it. They kidnap children, they pose as families, and they use it as a way to get to America. And then because you have people like Biden come out and say, oh, catch and release, stand down, to all the ICE agents, immigration agents, patrol. Stand down. Don't do anything. So what happens? You get these cartels that kidnap kids. They come over the border. They get caught. They get released into the USA. And in some cases, these kids are just left alone. They might even die. Nobody knows. They have no track. They have no way to track them. They have no way to continue to identify them. They have no way to even tell. I mean, they can test. And when they do test, if they're actually biologically related, they begin to find out that they're not actually related. In a lot of cases, I think more than 30% of cases where they've actually done tests, I think at the southern border in Texas to see if these people were actually related, a lot of them weren't. Their families are still in these foreign countries. They get kidnapped and brought over. And when they do catch and release, they're just let go into the wild, wild west. And then the criminals that do this stuff, they get off scot-free in the USA. And then you have people like AOC and Joe Biden being praised. Yes, yes, we're the saviors of the Hispanic community. Yes, we let them in. Yes, yes. While these kids, no one knows where they're going. Are they fed? Did they make it from the southern border to wherever they were? What's happening to these people? You guys claim to care about these communities, but you don't. Now I'm going to speak as a Latino man to YouTube, people that are listening to me. You don't represent me. You don't speak for me because I know what I'm saying is fact. If you really cared about people of color, if you really cared about some of these Hispanic communities, you would speak out against sex trafficking, human trafficking. You would speak out against these practices of illegal immigration that actually hurt Mexicans, that actually hurt Hispanic families, that actually put and jeopardize little Mexican kids' lives and put them in dangerous situations. Why don't you guys talk about this? I will. I'll talk about it because it's a humanitarian issue. It's not even about left or right at that point. A lot of aspects of illegal immigration are a lot more dangerous and do a lot more harm than good for people coming from these foreign countries. AOC doesn't talk about it. None of these people talk about it. Why? Because they don't want people to know about it.